The MSM's reaction to the Obama probe is unhinged. Check it out.
But the one thing we do know, Jonathan Lemire, is this is extraordinarily stupid. It's extraordinarily stupid on so many counts. If you look at the timeline doesn't add up.
After Pam Bondi announced that a grand jury might investigate Obama's role in Russiagate, the media went into chaos, and Tulsi Gabbard has a message for them.
They are using the same old tactic that the deep state's propaganda arm in the media uses.
That's why today we're covering it all, because we're not here to follow parties blindly. We're here for common sense. So, if you're an independent thinker, hit that subscribe button and let's jump right into it.
But the one thing we do know, Jonathan Lemire, is this is extraordinarily stupid. It's extraordinarily stupid on so many counts. If you look at the timeline doesn't add up. It's like when Donald Trump is saying that Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton created the Epstein files. No. That all happened during Donald Trump's first term.
I have read Tulsi Gabbard's summaries and reports really carefully. I've tried to make sense of this, and I am not comprehending where the criminal theory comes in at all, frankly.
You look at the timeline here about what happened and when it happened. Barack Obama had nothing to do with this by anybody's accounts.
Well, Joe, if you had actually looked at what Tulsi released, it would have all made sense. Ironically, her press release even came with a detailed timeline. It started on December 9, 2016, when the, quote, Obama White House gathered top National Security Council principals for a meeting to discuss Russia, and ended on January 6, 2017, when a, quote, new intelligence community assessment was released, which was mainly based on the now debunked Steele dossier. Now that we have the MSM's meltdown out of the way, let's see what Gabbard had to say about it.
You heard the media reaction, and a lot of these same people were just buying lock, stock, and barrel what was sold to them during the 2016 election. But they're essentially saying, this is all old news. This is such a stupid political move on their part. Into that, you say?
They are using the same old tactic that the deep state's propaganda arm in the media uses. Whenever they come across something that is true and that doesn't go along with whatever their narrative is that they're trying to shove down the throats of the American people, they first usually ignore it, as they did when I first released these documents a couple of weeks ago. They tried to ignore it. When they realized that they weren't going to get away with this, that this story was going to continue breathing life, we continued releasing new documents. Then they decided, we'll take this approach of say, this is nothing. There's nothing really to see here. This is bizarre. This is a conspiracy. These are the things that they do over and over and over again.
Exactly. As we showed at the start of the video, most of the reactions from the lamestream media were dismissive. Not one anchor, pundit, or panelist took the time to dig into Tulsi's report or even ask the most basic follow-up questions about what might be at play here. Instead, they all fell back on the argument that this is an old issue being dredged up just so Trump can go after a political opponent. Now, on the surface, that might sound like a fair critique. But if they believe this is just about targeting a political opponent, then they're indirectly admitting that Obama still plays an active role in directing the movements of the Democratic Party behind the scenes.
Like this idea of saying that Obama is guilty of treason, that there's almost no chance that he's going to be charged or convicted of treason. So why even go there? And I'll pose that question to you.
The integrity of our democratic republic depends on the American people knowing the truth about what actually happened and seeking that accountability, bringing about that accountability. I don't know how else to characterize what happens when there is a sitting president of the United States, there is a director of the CIA, a director of national intelligence under President Obama, the head of the NSA, James Comey is the head of the FBI, all coming together, and this is documented in what we released, all coming together to create this lie with the intent of delegitimizing the duly elected president of the United States because the person they wanted to win actually lost.
She's absolutely right about the need for the public to know what actually happened, and the timing couldn't be more critical. Trust in our judicial system is falling off a cliff, and the numbers prove it. According to a Gallup survey back in 2006, 59% of Americans said they trusted the courts. By last year, that number had dropped to just 35%. It's the sharpest decline compared to trust in any other major U.S. institution. That's dangerous territory for the entire system. Because when faith in the courts collapses, the ripple effects go far beyond one case or even one investigation. People begin to question verdicts, second-guess legal processes, and assume bias even where it might not exist. Going back to the interview, Laura asked a question that most partisan ideologues would answer in a certain way. But Tulsi's measured response perfectly showed why she's the right person for the job.
And how important is it to root out any remaining problems in these agencies, Director? Because we need our people to believe in the FBI, to believe in the CIA, to or get rid of them altogether. I mean, I hate to say that, or just completely defund a lot of these intelligence agencies. If we can't trust them, if they're going to subvert democracy and subvert our presidency, why are we funding them?
As Director of National Intelligence, I'm doing the work to go and root out those deep state bad actors within the intelligence community because our country's national security depends on it. The rule of law requires it. The integrity of our democratic republic requires that rooting out the truth, telling the truth to the American people, and bringing about that accountability. So yes, it is essential across the board, not only to root out the individual bad actors, but to enact the kind of institutional reform to make it so that these kinds of things cannot be allowed to happen again.
Absolutely. There's no question that our intelligence agencies need serious reform. They should be laser-focused on protecting the nation, not dropping their toes into political games. That means stripping away the bias, holding leadership accountable, and putting clear safeguards in place to ensure they operate in a truly non-partisan way. But the idea of completely defunding or abolishing them is beyond reckless. These agencies, when functioning properly, are critical to national security. They're the ones tracking terror threats, monitoring cyber attacks, and staying a step ahead of hostile nations. Pulling the plug on them entirely would be like throwing out the baby with the bathwater. The only people celebrating would be our adversaries, watching from a distance as we dismantle the very tools designed to keep them in check.
To your point that you made earlier, that when they're losing on the facts, they demonize the messenger. And in this case, you're the messenger. And I think this is a big reason your opposition to the forever war syndrome. That's one reason. But then this was another reason they clearly did not want you in your position. And to that point, Mark Warner, of course, Democrat senator from Virginia, wrote on X today, Tulsi Gabbard is a threat to our national security and should be fired. He's taking his orders pretty well, don't you think, Director?
He has and continues to be a reliable soldier. And you're right there, Laura, to make that comparison, because these very same tactics they are using now are the same tactics that the warmongers of Washington have consistently used whenever anyone challenges them to say, hey, this does not serve the best interests of the American people. It does not make us more safe, secure, and free. So why are you doing this?
That's why the attacks on Tulsi are only going to ramp up in the coming days, weeks, and months ahead. The reality is simple. The people who benefit the most from the way the system works right now have every reason to fight tooth and nail to keep it exactly as it is. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on this story. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember, keep thinking.